and put on the screen a lot of statistics, why this, why that, but I'm trying to do it in a way that we can show competency is required in a number of areas. We take it for granted, it's a very easy thing to do, and why it's absolutely essential. So, the first slide that we have here is with pilot universities. When I'm speaking about the competitive edge, a large number of universities have realised that we have a situation now where funding, as you know, has been cut, higher education is no longer ring-fenced, and the funders are demanding to see competency in terms of our skill base. Not just with the technical staff, but also our equipment. And so the University of Nottingham, Sheffield, Birmingham, Liverpool and Westminster have now started to work together in terms of being able to deliver a cross-university package, particularly for the outside world to see, and for looking at succession planning, apprenticeships, traineeships, fast-track graduate programs. Also, in their own right, they've decided that how essential it is that technical staff are registered. And so, in most cases, the universities are actually paying and contributing to technical registration and the registration with a professional body for at least 1 or 2 years. So, it's not just Sheffield that's alone in this, we're actually pushing forward. So, the next slide I was going to show you, which I will do blind, is the question that comes up quite often, which is, what is the relationship between a number of the bodies and stakeholders that operates within our sector? So, what would appear on the screen is HEFCE. You're all aware of HEFCE, which is the funding body for England and Wales. Gatsby, for those that don't know Gatsby, Gatsby is actually the charitable foundation which is funded by Lord Sainsbury, David Sainsbury, who works for the government on the technology side. We have Heated, quite a number of you have engaged with Heated. Are they a professional body? No. Who are they working with? Are they independent? No. I'll come back to that. And so we move on to whereby, in addition to those, we have another body called Union Learn, and Union Learn is funded again by Gatsby. We'll start to see the interrelationship, where the TUC, which is Unite, Unison and Prospect in particular as unions, fully back the situation in terms of the benefits of registration, not just for the institution, but for the individual. So thank you, Chris, for getting that on the screen. So, Science Council, where does the Science Council sit? Well, the Science Council was created 10 years ago by the then government to bring all the professional bodies together to start looking at the issues, the problems related with professionalism, but more importantly, with succession planning and loss of skill. We have the Institute of Science and Technology, which is the professional body for technicians, which has been recognised both by Gatsby, BIS and HEFCE. So, in combination, working around this group, they're all supportive of the technical community within the higher education sector. And each one has a role to play. So this year, there is a formal partnership now between the IST and Heated. HEFCE is working with the IST, looking at new blood programs and mid-range grade and high-grade mid-grade range and high-grade range upskilling, which helps with career development and promotion. Department of Business, Innovation and Skills has produced a document whereby they've looked at the higher education institutions and particularly the Russell Group, where most of the research and development takes place. Why are they so interested? The main reason is it's why we're in employment. It's why the country survives. We used to be known for our manufacturing, our heavy industry, all of that's gone to the wall. So what's left? We have the financial market, which is the city. Well, we can all comment on that. We have tourism and hospitality, depends on the world economy. And we have research and innovation. And it's the research and innovation that will drive this country forward economically. And to look at research and innovation, FoS did a very in-depth survey, and by 2020, in all sectors, including our sector, through either natural wastage, retirement, or new jobs, there is 440,000 technical jobs to fill. So they're very concerned because the main advanced industries, the Boeings, the Rolls-Royces, the high-end engineering, the advanced skilled work for nuclear industry, the situation is that they have the scientists, they have the engineers, they have the people with the ideas, but they don't have the technicians to actually deliver the product. So it's of high concern there. TUC, trade unions. Unfortunately, I'm also going to try and do a Martin Bentley today. Martin Bentley gave me permission. He was coming to do the next presentation, but unfortunately his father-in-law has been taken very seriously ill and is in a critical condition. But he did want me to say that as soon as he's back, Unite will be doing their own large push to get technicians registered. All the unions see this as absolutely key in terms of protecting the skills, protecting the jobs, and also development of skills and job opportunities. So union learn is key. I went down to the TUC and everybody is on board, and they produced a pack which all the union representatives, I've got one here as Martin's not here, the technician registration toolkit, and within that it gives 14 stages of why people should be registered. But one of the leaflets on that, if anybody wishes to come and have a look, you're more than welcome at the end. It's benefits for registration. For the individual, for employers, for the economy and society, and for the trade union itself. So everybody is pleased with that simply because we have a situation whereby normally when there's a new scheme or initiative, HEFI don't like it, or the unions don't like it, or FoS don't like it. All of these people are 100% committed to deliver this for the technical community. So, for those that have been here for a long time, and we've just heard one or two people have been here since 1980, I won't tell you when I came, probably too long, but a lot of technicians have tried to fight with the university, with the external environment, to say we feel as though we're second-class citizens, we feel as though we're not valued, and that's one of the reasons I brought Tony Ryan here, and if the VC was available, for those of you that went to the technicians conference 18 months ago, they genuinely understand the role of the technician and what they deliver. So a lot of you have been saying this for years, you know, we're treated like second-class citizens, we're not recognised professionally. Well, it's all changed. The opportunity is here and now, and the university's commitment is such that, as I say, the faculties have all agreed that we will pay for the first 2 years. Somebody might say, why the first 2 years? Because you have to do CPD. What's continual professional development? We'll come to that a bit further in the presentation. But believe it or not, virtually everybody in this room is doing CPD. You've just not recognise that you're doing it. It's just a case of actually logging how you're doing. So, yes, loads of money, loads of money. That's this particular slide. This is where this university and the other universities sat in the higher education sector. If there was a problem, or if there was an issue, oh, it doesn't matter, we'll have another technician. Oh, it doesn't matter, we'll buy one of those pieces of kit. It's all gone. Okay? The higher education sector is no longer ring-fenced. So people in my job, people in finance, people in planning and governance are having to react, sometimes very quickly, but having to react to the cutbacks from government which go through HEFGI and which come out in a budget letter. All the time I've been here, up to the past few years, that didn't exist. A university got into debt, not a problem, just written off. No. It's just how you run your household at the moment, income and expenditure. If you've got a mortgage with a bank and you stop paying the mortgage, they take it away from you. And this is the situation that we're in. So we're now in a new mindset, and I don't think any of our academic colleagues are here, but I will actually say it to our academic colleagues. It's a new world. A lot, even in the last couple of years, haven't wished to recognise that this protection that higher education once had has gone. And we have to balance the books. And those returns go back to government, your student data, everything else goes back through PISA, and we have got to show that we are balancing the books. If we turn around and say it takes 200 million to run the university, and they say, well, all you're getting is 180 because we've had to cut the NHS, we've had to cut the military, we've got to cut everybody else. They say, you've got to do it. So it's critical how we work, and one of the key things is bringing in the income. The issue now with income is that we're in such a competitive market, we have got to be seen, because we are good, we are an excellent university, we've got to be seen to be delivering and to show that competency. Now, when we get a research grant and we beat Manchester or we beat a university in Germany, they are expecting the gold standard. They can't come to us and give us money for a project and we haven't demonstrated that our mass spec, our NMR, our environmental facility won't deliver because it's not up to standard. They want the guarantee of the standard. And as Martin Bentley was saying to me the other day, the research councils are now getting tighter and tighter in terms of you've got to demonstrate you can do this. So, why am I showing a picture of an ATM, a cash machine? Well, believe it not, you've been assessed, you've been accredited. To get that bank account or to get that mortgage, to be able to have that cash card to put in or to get credit, you fill in a form, you put down your salary, they credit check you, they look at your handling of your finances, your financial history, and from that you get a rating. It's just the same with professional technical registration. You've all got skills, and the beauty of this scheme is you don't have to have a PhD because it's peer reviewed, and what they do is they look at your skill, they look at your experience. There's been schemes in the past, and I've said to people I wouldn't engage with that because 90% of it's been weighted on academic qualifications. And the key to it, the professionalism, is in your skills. And this actually weighs this out, and they're both equally weighted now, which is excellent. So we are accredited time and time again. So what happens if we don't care of stuff and we're not really bothered? Well, if you go to the bank for a loan for a mortgage, they might charge you 5%, or if you want that new car, they might charge you 7%. If your rating, your accreditation isn't very good, then you have to go to Wonga or whatever and pay 200%. It's just the same thing, adapted to a different sector. So, no such thing as a free ticket or a free meal. Well, actually there is in this particular case, and with the pilot universities that I showed you, the universities agree to pay for your professional body fees for 2 years. They agree to pay the professional registration for 2 years. So you come out with a passport that will get you jobs, not just here, in other universities, in industry, Rolls-Royce, Boeing, advanced manufacturers. They all understand what this is. And it is 3, 4, 5 steps up the ladder in order to get a new post, opportunities for training and development, opportunities for promotion. So, I'm just going to go through these few slides. We all drive, but we have to start off somewhere. So, you can get a license just for, and I'm probably wrong here, but I was told 125 cc's or less. Okay? So you're tested, you have experience, you get accredited, and you get a license for that particular level. Okay? So then, if we were all looking, we then go up a level, but we have to show more experience. You can't get a license for a motorbike above the scooter level until you pass that exam and you've been shown that you can be competent in driving that motorbike. The car's the same, the bus, more advanced, you're accredited, and all of a sudden you start getting all these stamps on your driving license to allow you to do this. Well, professional accreditation is exactly the same. Different levels, and if you've achieved them, that proof of competency opens up so many doors. And the one we always want to drive, and that's the big RT. I certainly do. That would get me down the parkway quite easily. So, here's Rob, who's in the faculty office, and it's his lunchtime, so of course he's on YouTube or Facebook while he's eating his sandwiches. That just takes a few minutes. Okay? The next slide, I'll go backwards and forwards this slide, is this. We could just take your money. The university will give us the money to register you, filled out no forms. Okay? Easy peasy. Oops, sorry. It's not worth the paper it's written on. It means nothing. It doesn't advance your careers, it doesn't show your professional status, it doesn't show to the outside world for the university we are competent. On the left, sorry Mel, but on the left is Mel's certificate. That has power, it has a passport, and it is now valued throughout Europe. So when we apply for money to the EU, we list the people who's going to do the projects, which is the academics. We've now started to list the technicians and the facilities. We need this income. In this university, well, in this faculty, let's look at the faculty, because I have the figures. In the faculty, 84% of our costs are staff costs. And the staff costs are doing this all the time. The actual income is trying to track that and get above it. The funding bodies in the UK have been cut by government, but they've been cut from 640 million for the research councils to 570 million. So there's loads of money out there, but it goes to the best. It goes to the universities that can show we have the infrastructure and it's accredited. So I agree with you. It takes time to fill in the forms, but this is by peer review of your skills. It has gold standard value. Otherwise, you know, you can go to London now, pay £5,000 and you can be given a degree certificate. It won't get you a job, it won't do anything, and it doesn't help the institution. So, although it takes time, and Michelle is going to talk about natural registration, the value on the left is recognised both nationally, internationally. It helps the institution, and it also is good for the career. So, at that point, I was going to do a double act with Martin Bentley, and unfortunately, as I say, he's not here. And Martin has been working with Union Learn, which, as I say, is the combination of the key trade unions down at TUC, and this is how they see the problem. You don't have a voice, so the voice becomes a professional body. There are a few pathways for progression. The IST and the University of Sheffield are working with HEFGI at looking at new career pathways. And I was in London yesterday at the Science Council, and people in that meeting were actually talking about, again, careers for life. So where people used to come to the university several years ago, and we used to talk about, oh, you know, it's a good employer, they don't make people redundant compared to the outside world, and you've got a job for life. That went when the ring fencing went, because it's this balance of income and expenditure. But part of registration is that the university has to meet you in a two-way street. So therefore, we have got to provide, as a faculty, as a university, appropriate training and development. Because how do you move from having the Lambretta scooter to a car if somebody doesn't train you? So that is a win-win, and the piece of work that we're working on at the moment is career pathways, and that is career pathways from coming in from apprenticeships, trainees, middle order training, advanced training, and there is no reason why people cannot go through the whole scale. The only thing that people now have to remember is where we had a department and say we took on 5 grade 3 technicians today, there won't be 5 grade 6 technicians in that same cohort in that department in 3 or 4 years' time. But a number of them can be grade 5 and grade 6 because they've learnt the base skills. They've gone from the Faculty of Science to the Faculty of Engineering. I've actually got some people in the room that have done this, and get promoted to the next level. Then they've gone to medicine and got promoted to the next level, and then come back to science. And those opportunities exist, and that is the future. So on our part, we've got to ensure you're well trained, you get the opportunity for training and development, but we have to have a flexible and agile workforce. And so people now down in London are saying, if we create that, then you can start talking about a career for life. Because we will always get natural wastage gaps. We will also always get newer areas of research development. And people can move and take that opportunity. So I started off as a trainee technician, and it's great, and you're working with your mates and everything else. You've got the comfort blanket because you're in one department. And as soon as you go to another department, you don't know anybody and you think, oh, is it worth it? Well, that opportunity is there, and people are fully supported. And the unions, as I say, we've been working on that. Problems of recognising transferable skills as we develop them. So if somebody works in the bench in a biological area, it's very easy for us, knowing the skill set, to train them to go from the biological area to go and work in chemistry. So we can support the workforce, and the workforce can be given additional opportunities without worrying they've lost the comfort blanket. And again, Gatsby is also helping fund this, because as we all get older, and as you know, we've got excellent apprenticeships here, and engineering have been doing their trainee technicians, and the people are just coming shortly to the end of 2 years, and that's been an excellent program. Not people like myself saying it, but the actual trainees themselves. They've done their own blog, they've done their own little articles in the journals, but we still have this gap coming through. So we're now trying to develop pipelines so people do get the opportunity to move to grade 4 to 5 or 5 to 6 or 6 to 7, because we've got people coming through all the time. So the project from Union Learn, working in this particular case with Unite, promoting registration of a professional body, boosting the status and skills base for the technical workforce, the working relationships, aiding the development of progression routes from apprenticeship to registered technician status, and developing, as I say, this toolkit. The government, through the Department of Business Innovation and Skills, BIS at the moment, are just totally refreshing the apprenticeship schemes in the UK. And what is written in, which isn't there at the moment, is that professional technical registration will be mandatory. So all the people that's coming up behind, every single one, will be professionally registered. So as I've mentioned, the project is supported, ensuring members have a voice, working at Sheffield with others to promote the scheme. Say Martin here, we were going to do a double act, and we're also mapping in terms of identifying areas where trade unions are best placed to engage with technicians. And say when Martin comes back, he's going to spearhead a trade union push for professional technical registration at this university. So that, I hope I haven't bored you too much, is just giving the background. I don't know if we're going to go straight into your presentation next.
So the tea and coffee hasn't arrived yet.
Okay.
Break, so if we're okay to carry on and then take a break when the tea and coffee comes towards
Yeah,
it.
that's fine. So we are going to do question and answers, but if there's any burning question, just while we've got me here, I'm quite happy to answer them. As I say, it's such a competitive environment. We have to fight quite hard against the Russell Group. For those who don't know the Russell Group, that's 20-odd universities plus York, who are the key research-led universities. And at the end of the day, we've got excellent academics like Tony Ryan, string of 4-star papers, highly rated in breadth, but so is Manchester, so is Bristol. And now they're looking at the infrastructure, and this is why we need to be ahead of the game.
It's been an easy why it's only been funded for 2 years.
The reason it's for 2 years in the first instance is it's a two-way street. Yeah. So I pay everything for you. Yeah. You don't do your CPD. So after year 1, you lose your registration. Yeah. The slide that didn't come up there, and I don't think we've got it, but I do a slide of a just shaped out cowboy. Yeah? And the reason we use the cowboy is simply because if you've got gas central heating, every year you need it serviced. So I come along and I say to you, okay mate, I can do your boiler, 50 quid, not a problem. Okay? You're not going to let me in. You're going to say, are you Corgi registered? Yeah? So that's their professional registration. But they do CPD, they do personal development. And what's behind that is at the moment the person might be trained in using a XY boiler, and now the latest Bosch ones come out, which actually internally is totally different circuit board, different pump. And you've got to be accredited to service that. So each year we check your CPD. CPD could be just going on a training course, going to a conference, keeping up to speed with your area. You might read a journal on workshops or IT or what have you, and you just log it. And it's very easy to log. So that's why it's 2 years, because people just might decide, I'm not doing CPD. Just send out 2 messages. So the idea is it would roll on. As far as faculties are concerned, it would roll on simply because it's important to us to be able to attract funding. So we want you to be gold standard, and we too have got to put our money where our mouth is, but also in some circumstances, for example, those people that are heavily involved with analytical equipment, you need to go on training courses, which might be a 5-day course with the manufacturer, because there's a new NMR come out. And so we're saying in this engagement, well, if you're registering, we've got to make sure you're kept up to speed. Because how many times have people in this room gone to their departmental manager and said, I need to go on that training course? And he's gone, I don't money for that. So it's to ensure that proper training and development is part of this package. Any other questions? So I'll pass you over to Michelle. We'll get the opportunity of questions and answer at the end. So introduce you now to Michelle Jackson, who is the registrar at the IST and who has spent a lot of time, I won't say a long time, lot of time going up and down the country by invitation from other universities that want to engage with professional registration. Michelle.
Okay, hello everyone. As Joe says, I'm